G'day, g'day, g'day. It's Mathematical KM here. Remember, the KM are initials, not a title. I'm Keith Malumbi. Okay, we've got round 4 of the Hetherington Memorial Tournament at my local Tuggeranong Chess Club. 60 minutes plus 30 seconds a move, and gee, we needed that time to be thinking at various stages of this game. I've got the black pieces and playing against, and I'm weighing in at a FIDE rating of 1464. My opponent, Garish, is 1451, so not very much in it. His birth year is 2014, but he's obviously a pretty good player. We can see the accuracy by chess.com. Nice to see I had a couple of great moves. I had no blunders, a couple of misses. Chess.com saying I was at 1800. As far as it goes, opening, playing the hippo, 94. Of course, my opponent setting up against the hippo, 96. And there's only a middle game. So we'll see how, let's take a look at how it all unfolded. Here we go. Okay, pretty standard. He's claiming the centre, e4, g-pawn, d-pawn, rest of the centre, bishop. Still on the book moves, supporting that pawn. We come out with the d-pawn, standard first 3 moves, according to the chess giant for the old hippo. He's brought, I'm happy to see that. We're not fighting against the Austrian attack, which we can do, but it's going to be a 2-pawn centre, most likely, unless we get 3-pawn on the queen side. I just decided to, and you're getting a question mark there, and during these first 10 moves, there are things that you've got to react to, but basically you're getting the same 10 moves out, and the order can change a little bit depending on what white does, but I'd argue the point on the question mark during those 10 moves. Okay, white's playing pretty reasonably. He's developed 4 pieces, got 2 pawns in the centre. What's black doing? White doesn't know. We know. We're getting the water horse set up. The computer didn't like his light squared bishop, maybe because it was already biting on a bit of granite. It might be a square he likes to put it there in the past. But anyway, the H-pawns coming flying down, we have to react to that. We want to be able to do this or this to Lego lock it up over there. And computer doesn't like it. Interesting that. And it's a move that's part of our standard 10-move hippo setup. Well, how many pawn setup is that? Especially if you call that a tall pawn. I mean, I know it's not, but it's sort of like 5 pawns. White is staking some sort of claim to rather a lot of the 5th. We fianchetto. He moves his queen forward. I had, by the way, that is one of the things that we react to. We need to make sure H6 is either played in response or is already played, and it was. Let's just get my 2 knights into where they go. He's moved his king forward to connect his rooks. Okay, and this is, as the chess giant would put it with the hippo, the breather moment. It's where you put your pen down in a 60-minute game, and you've really got to have a think about what you're seeing in front of you. And the hippo has got 6 pawn breaks as standard continuations. I mean, admittedly, the middle 2 aren't so often. And if none of the pawn breaks are on, you've also got 2 knights flying around to threaten pawns, and generally with the idea of continuing on to, after you encourage a particular move, to then chase down a bishop. So what did I decide to go for? That's obviously not on. 1, 2, 3, not on. Don't want to open the middle. He's got a queen in there and he's got rooks coming in. I want the middle locked. So far, no. Computer likes that. That would be not the style of game I'd be wanting to go into. No. And this is a huge no. If there's a bishop hitting one of your central pawns, like in this case the e-pawn is only protected by the f-pawn. The f-pawn is not moving for now. The g-pawn, maybe? Haven't really got a lot of stuff developed over here. It's not like one more move and sometimes their knight will be trapped if you manage to get another step. But another tip/trick from Solomon Goodell, the good old chess giant, is most of the time he won't play g5 and then swing the knight behind it unless the g5 move itself comes with tempo, because it's inviting moves like h4, which is, protected by so no. That leaves us with the knights. Can this knight come in here and then swing out here and be threatening a bishop? No. Can this knight come here? Now we've got 2 pieces on that pawn, only one protector. Oh, and by the way, let's take a look. This knight to here, threatening this pawn. Really? This pawn is protected by a bishop and a queen and a knight. It's got 3 protectors, and I'll be taking it up to 2 attackers, so they'll be going, yeah, mate, not really an attack. But this knight to here gives us 2 pieces on this pawn. It's only got the 1 protector. He has to react to deal with it, and we're hoping to harass and maybe win the dark bishop. So let's see how we go. He centralises another rook, and it was actually the computer's top move there. Bringing that one out, and let's see, the computer is suggesting that he get a second protector by backing that bishop up, so it's 2 versus 2. But he's hoping to open it all up in the middle, where he's got a lot of firepower coming in. And strangely, computer actually wants me to take that pawn. But in a very waterhorse sort of a move, I've moved my e-pawn forward 1. So we've locked it up. We're locking a lot of this stuff up on the dark with a bit of luck. That one will end up on dark as well, which would mean that that's a pretty valuable bishop, that old dark bishop there. And part of our plan is to threaten it. So let's see what happens. He's moved his queen forward. Computer doesn't like it, but we will see. We are hassling that dark squared bishop. It can't come forward and live. Is he going to take it away backwards, or how will my friend react? With a pretty typical asking my knight to put up or shut up, we put it up. Oh, actually, that's one of the great moves. Perhaps the computer is looking in terms of, we're going to get a lot of our pawns on the dark squares. Let's get rid of his dark bishop. He takes with his queen. Now at this stage, got to get a few more pieces. I'm hoping the queen side's pretty locked up and will remain so. At some point we might even castle queenside. Get some more attacking pieces over here and see if we can go off to the races. Now I do have a pawn and a knight looking at the f5 square, and we can come in and threaten his e-pawn, but more than that, if they don't swap off, f4 with tempo, giving me quite the pawn chain. Let's see what happens. First we develop the light bishop, which was biting on granite, rather a lot of granite. Not my best piece, but now that's an attacking piece. So as Solomon puts it, gradually, when it's going a bit slow, try and improve your pieces. Even if you're not trying to checkmate him in one move, but improve your pieces. That's almost a happy birthday, because if he'd done it the other way, it was going to explode a little bit, and I would have had to have been on probably playing b5. But interestingly enough, he's gone that way, and now we have quite the pawn chain, a bit of protection for the king, quite locked up. Just have to get the king over there and do some attacking over on the queen side, which happily is where the white king, roughly speaking, is. So he's rerouted that knight, obviously a bit frustrated. It couldn't come forward. Maybe could have come here, but would have been easily to threaten. But he's moved his knight back. And now I've come in, we've got our two pieces protecting, three, sorry, because we've added the newly arrived light bishop, the knight, and the pawn. So it's a fairly protected pawn. Okay, that is interesting. Pawn forward. Looks like perhaps he's getting ready to play f4. And it's around about this stage that I'm thinking, I don't think white can do anything in very much of a hurry. Got to get the queen and the bishop out of the way, and then castle queenside. At the moment, with three pieces protecting that pawn, this pawn's not even threatened by anything, and it is protected by two pieces. Queen's not going to come here. The g-pawn's just feeling fairly safe and chilling at the moment. This is castling queenside when you've got cramped but safe. Anyway, so that's how I was thinking about it. Let's go. Let's get a hold on g4. So not quite up to the castling. But my g-pawn, the only one that wasn't super protected, is harder to get at now. And at some stage, another little side quest plan in my head was bishop to h6, covered by the rook, asking his queen to flaff about and get out of the way in the middle there. And he may have been thinking about f4 already, but that certainly makes bishop to h6 interesting, because if I do play it, then he's not taking the e-pawn, or at least unwise while his queen's there. So we lock that in. Pinning took him a few moves to get his f-pawn there. Now the f-pawn is effectively pinned because his queen is behind it. It's a rook lined up. Okay, we're starting the dance. That's just getting the bishop out of the way. Sure, it's putting a little bit of pressure on the b-pawn, but that it's not thinking about the b-pawn. We're just getting out of the way. So now the question is, see how the computer's thinking about castling on the king side? I just didn't feel safe there, and I felt that I had the time. And this pawn is protected by the bishop, which would probably take the pawn if he were to take me. And he can't really come there without that. It's all looking pretty safe. I think I can afford to get the knight out of the way. White's not really sure how they're going to get through. For what it's worth, my young, let's see, born in 2014, my 11-year-old but still highly skilled opponent offered me a draw at this point, thinking nobody's getting anywhere. I said, no, we'll play on for a little bit. Apart from anything else, I'm going to finish this queenside castling manoeuvre. Lining my queen up on his king there, by the by. He's lining a rook up on my queen and king. And having taken several moves to try and arrange the ability to be able to castle queenside, and the computer didn't like the moves that organised it all that much either. But now that it's there, queenside castling minus 2.65, so done. King is feeling pretty safe behind this double V. And my rooks aren't quite joined, but it's all pretty close. And I feel like, my dark bishop's certainly better than his dark bishop. What, you mean the dark bishop that he doesn't got anymore? Yes, that one. And my light bishop is a fair amount of an attacking piece, and compare it to his light bishop. Sure, it's got 10 speed reverse, but not much of a piece. Pretty good, probably good attacking piece. Same for my other bishop. My rooks aren't really aimed at much yet. The queen's in a good place, and my knight has got options. So he moves his king out of the way so his rook is lined up on my queen. Rooks have got x-ray vision. Let's get my queen out of the way of that rook, but of course right in the path of a rook and a queen. But there's a little bit more in the way there. He's trying to reroute that knight. Now I had been, and one of the reasons for getting the queen to here was thinking about this diagonal. I was thinking if I can either, if his knight stayed there, the plan I was thinking about in my head was I get my bishop behind the queen, and with that battery, with only the queen defending it, I can take that knight. I also was thinking that if the knight does wander away, I've got two possible checks. If I take this one, then I think he'd be silly to come here where I could just come back with more check. But if he moves his king there, he'd be threatening my queen, but I could come and win a pawn. Guaranteed. But from there, I guess he would need to move his queen across to protect his bishop. Then I'd come here, but he could bring another rook. I'd be trying to creep my queen out. It was not 100% happy about putting my queen that far into the front. If you watched my hippo versus hippo last week with Roy, it's not quite the same thing at all. This would be a bit safer, but sending that queen out too far in front, well, got a bit burnt last week. But let's see, what do we do? He moves his knight out of the way, so I won't be winning the knight with this move. But I decide I still will open that diagonal for the queen. That makes a good deal of sense as a move for white, to stop the queen getting in. But I won't say it was greedy or anything. He's grabbed the pawn. He's equalised the material. It is interesting. Let's get me out of the way a little bit. Well, if you're looking at that little mini chessboard, playing the check, grabbing the pawn, and then getting the queens off. Yep, that would have been better. Not that worried about my queen getting in there if I am sure that I can swap it off for his queen. But I wasn't that brave. So it's now only -1.5 instead of a -2.5. Come in with check. Oh, and, you know, a little bit hope chess with the check. I was thinking if he's definitely his queen coming across is the best move. But if he was to block with the knight, I win the bishop. If he moves his king, I win the bishop. If he blocks with his bishop, then I think I'm a lot safer going check and taking that pawn. But he played the best move. And given that the computer's confident I could win the A pawn and then get the queens off, it's still suggesting that. But I go with, let's get the queens off. And trading all the way down is on the cards. And I've been thinking very hard about, he doesn't have a dark bishop. If I can get all my pawns, I know these, the three on the queen side are on the light colours, but most of my pawns here are on the dark. And what's more, at least 3 of his pawns are fixed on the light squares, and I've still got a light bishop. So I was thinking I can probably get it down to an endgame that I've got attacking chances. So, and one thing here, which just, no. And the dark bishop's not the one I need. I need the light bishop to kill his pawns. Let's get rid of that knight. Computer thinks it's still my edge, but not by as much. And this is for a brief moment here. White really has a big chance. And that would be now. Because E5, see, plus 2.67. He plays E5. Would I play King D8? Have to have a little bit of a look into that. I would have thought after E5, I would almost certainly go D takes. He takes. It's not great, but fortunately for me, my young opponent missed that big chance. He did get a pawn onto a dark square, fixing mine on the light squares, which is, makes his bishop more useful against these 3. He might have been thinking about endgame plans as well. Now I have got 2 pieces attacking that E-pawn. He's got 2 defending it, but I'm more than anything else thinking about bringing that knight out here. But that was the move that lost the game. And the soul of the hippo has always been the bishops. And it's a nice little tactic. This game has gone on for a heap of moves, up to 32. And unfortunately for my young opponent, it takes little to bring my light squared bishop to life. Only got great, not brilliant, but now he's got a hanging knight threatened by a bishop, and he's got a protected bishop, but it doesn't matter because it's threatened by a pawn. He's got two pieces that are hanging, and you just have to look at the eval here. He's gone that way. Now, I think I come out in front here anyway, up a piece. But I am kind of thinking of a bit of a tic-tac. I've taken that one, and now he's got a rook, which is under threat by a bishop, and his bishop is under threat by my knight. So he's still got two pieces under threat. So this is really cutting down on the material, with me being a piece up, 4-3 at the moment. But let's get some more trades happening. So he had to move that rook. And he's moved that rook to where it can take the bishop. And at this point, I think it's just a matter of getting the ball into the basket. But doesn't have to happen, but I thought that would be nice. And here we go. I take the bishop. He takes my hanging bishop, which was a bit of a mistake. It's already 9.2, but... And a fork, it's going to be 3 pieces versus 1 rook, or if he takes mine off, it'll be a rook and a knight versus no pieces. So at this point, my opponent resigned, and that is, I would have to say, a very slow, constricting water horse game. A bit of stuff happened right at the end there, but not bad. And I've got an over-the-board tournament coming up over Easter, Good Friday and Easter Saturday, where I'll be just bringing the hippo into my game. So there'll be some more videos soon. Bye for now.